This is nasty.
Tonight, Most Haunted visits the heart of England and a castle consumed with its ghostly past.
Oh! What was that? Shut up!
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. I've brought you to Warwick, to a place that's seen murder, demon beasts and imprisonment. But more importantly, this place is supposedly riddled with ghosts. But just how paranormally active is Warwick Castle? Well, to give us an idea and find out what we're all letting ourselves in for tonight, we asked Carl and Stuart to spend last night completely on their own in the dungeon.
Are you here? Yeah. There's supposed to be something seen up there.
Is there?
Yeah. Dark shadow. My eyes are slowly getting used to this and I forgot that was up there. There's a gibbet cage, isn't it? How are you feeling, Stu?
I'm alright, I'm just trying to settle in at the moment. Just get my bearings and... There's a pit under here. There's a lower, under there there's another dungeon. Can we get down that? Oh, what a shame that is.
Well, tomorrow night? Why don't we see if we can get
Yeah. See if we can get it open and get in there, yeah.
Get your head down.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Come on, Stu, get in there. Anyway, Stu, I'm not going to kiss you goodnight, but good night.
Good night, mate.
Hello?
Anyone there? It sounded like there was footsteps on those on that concrete staircase.
Yeah.
So it seems we're in for an interesting and active 24 hours here at Warwick Castle. AD 914 saw this site's first fort, a wooden construction that eventually made way for stone in 1260. And the addition of further halls and towers throughout the Tudor, Jacobean and Victorian eras has produced the castle that greets so many visitors today. Numerous noblemen have lived here, but while some passed in tranquil circumstances, others suffered a less than peaceful demise. Bigotry and betrayal lie behind more than one tale, and it's based on these events that staff and visitors believe spectres to still stroll these grand but ghostly floors. The Kingmaker attraction is housed in the oldest part of the castle and is said to be the most haunted. With dark shadows, strange feelings and ghostly footsteps, this truly is a frightening place to be. But it's the specific hauntings that scare me the most. The screams of a woman and the cries of a baby are often heard echoing throughout this lower chamber. They're thought to belong to a mother and a baby that are supposedly buried behind a wall. Many people have seen the horrific apparition of a severed body right here by the fireplace. Throughout the years, this dungeon has known much misery and pain, and even today is a place of fear and dread. Many people feel very distressed in here, disorientated and restlessness. But what's causing these feelings? Many people attribute it to the figure of a large man who's thought to be a jailer, and he's seen many times standing behind a steel gate.
One very interesting story concerning Daisy, Countess of Warwick. She used to hold seances upstairs in one of the bedrooms. On one occasion she reported that after the Ouija board that she used, all of her guests were so terrified that they never came back to the castle again.
It is said Sir Fulk Greville haunts here. He was a scholar, poet and politician. He was a well-liked man by friends and workers alike. But when he discovered he was only to acquire £20 from his master's will, Fulk's manservant Haywood was filled with rage and decided to plan a grisly revenge. One night, as his master was preparing for the evening, Haywood, in a moment of madness, took a knife and without warning plunged it into Fulk, fatally wounding him. However, eaten up by guilt, he stabbed and killed himself some days later. Since his murder, Sir Fulk Greville has been seen many times around the tower, but mainly by this portrait, which has been known to come to life.
I do believe that he likes to watch over Warwick Castle and say, look, I put the castle right in 1600s, you keep it right today. That's what I like to think, but I would say he's our most famous ghost. There are others that people will speak of. There is a story of a newspaper reporter who is quite a cynic who stopped in a ghost tower, in the Watergate Tower. We call it the ghost tower, but it's the Watergate. And he was quite cynical, and the following morning when they let him out, he had bruises on his arms where a hand had grabbed him. And we actually had a doctor examine it, and he definitely said it was finger marks.
Stories associated with this amazing castle, and some terrifying. But parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe was keen to share his concerns about our night in this ancient location. Now, this place is enormous. For me, I know that people will get really lost and they will get separated, and I think that's going to sort of up the ante in the scare.
I am genuinely concerned about the investigation for that reason, because we have done some very big locations, and we've talked before about escape, being in doing a lone vigil, for example, or just two people, and if something were to happen, like you say, they will get lost. They just won't be able to find their way back.
One thing that is a little bit off-putting, or I know will be scary later on, is that they do have a lot of dummies here. They're very, very lifelike.
We're going to have a lot of people doing double takes and thinking that they've seen a ghost, thinking that they've seen somebody standing there. So it's going to be paramount that we have video evidence. We need that objective backup where we've got the film to actually show hopefully an apparition.
Now, what about experiments here at Warwick Castle? Because there's been particular areas, for instance the dungeon, where many people have felt uneasy, distressed, dizziness, you know, the classic sort of cases that we've worked on.
What I'd like to do in the dungeon is actually set up an experiment where we're looking for the presence of infrasound. Sound that is below 20 hertz. And we know from previous research that the sort of experiences people have when they're exposed to infrasound match the experiences that people have in a haunted location. So you might get a sense of presence, you might get a tightening in the chest, or just a weird sensation. You might even get corner of the eye phenomena, and that can all be created by infrasound. The difficulty is finding the source of it. So it could be naturally occurring infrasound because of the structure of the dungeon and the corridor, or because of heavy traffic locally. There could be a number of different reasons.